Yeah. After this, the price definitely gotta go up.
What's going on, guys? Peeps with tweets. I am your host, Brandon Verastro. Today, we got a very, very special guest. He was on one of my podcasts, New Faces podcast. What was it, like June, probably?
I guess.
Yeah, some shit like that. Who cares? He is a journalist. He is a baseball player for Johns Hopkins University. He carries the offense and defense, from what I understand. You knew I was gonna bring that shit up anyway.
Yeah, I would. I wish you didn't.
He's
so many expectations I'm not gonna reach. We have a fielding percentage of 800 and a batting average of 200.
They're gonna kill you in the articles if you play like shit the first couple weeks. Anyway, I'm trying to get through the intro because I got too many jokes on hand. He's a hip-hop journalist, music journalist, writes for numerous places, creator of NC Views. My guy, my brother, Matt Ritchie. Matt, how are we doing?
Pretty okay.
Pretty okay. That was better than when I first started the Zoom.
Yeah,
people don't know, but when I opened the Zoom, I go, Matt, my brother, how are we doing? He goes, awful.
I thought I would sanitize the answer a little bit to hide the truth, but so we're gonna go with pretty okay.
Pretty okay. All right, good. So what I do with each podcast, if you haven't listened, which I'm sure you have or haven't, maybe, I don't really know, but I always start with you reading off your Twitter bio, since this is Peeps with Tweets, talking about Twitter and all, just to read your bio, just to get a little behind the scenes, understanding of you, if you want to read that off for your boy.
My Twitter bio is so boring. Like it's not funny in any way. It's just so here we go.
Okay.
Jackbox.tv MVP, words for Pitchfork, Audiomack, Complex, Red Bull, and We Are Still Crew.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all. Before I started getting like writing, freelancing more, I think it was funnier before. But but now it's just me putting places I wrote for one time and be like, hey guys, look what I did. And it's like a show and tell, but no one cares about it, and so it's even better.
I know, and I was always contemplating writing. Like, I have Passion Whites on there. I wrote for them one time, and I'm like, yep, putting that shit in. Everyone knows the fuck I wrote for one time.
Exactly. Listen,
only.
First impressions are key, and people can find out if you're a douchebag or a pretentious dick by looking at which places you've written for, and then they can judge. Then they can judge your articles based on your bio. So I'm like, I wonder if people think I'm a total jerk. But the Jackbox.tv MVP one is real. That's I'm very good at Jackbox.tv. You know what that is?
No, that was literally my next question was, what the fuck is Jackbox?
It's like this online thing where you can have like a bunch of people play from their phones and like one host. And so there's a bunch of different games. There's like Quiplash, which is like Cards Against Humanity, but you just make it up yourself. Mm-hmm. And then there's like trivia. I'm really great at trivia on that, so I win almost every time. So that's my one claim to fame. That's literally all I have going for me, that I win the trivia games at least twice a night.
Hey, listen, no the trivia shit is my shit. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy the fuck out of it.
Pre-pandemic trivia was good stuff. Going out to some crappy Baltimore bar at like 9:30 p.m. and then just the worst trivia performances with like me and a couple of friends, just putting on disaster classes like years deep, and it's good stuff. I miss that. So
man, I look at the pre-COVID shit now and I'm like, damn, I had so much fun.
I look at my pre-COVID shit and I'm just like, I didn't have that much fun.
Really?
I was like, like it's been a very lateral move in terms of how much fun I've had.
So you've had more fun after COVID than pre.
No, I wouldn't. I was having no fun, and then I've had no fun, and so
Okay, so you're just strictly no fun at all times.
correct.
All right. I mean, hey, listen, not everyone can have fun. There's a lot of fun for everybody. Apparently, it doesn't reach everyone around.
All right, man.
Hey, listen, you said it, not me, bro.
Correct. I said it. I said
All right, well then Matt Ritchie has a lot of fun. He's hiding how much fun he has there.
correct.
So let's get into you though. Let's get into you. So you were born in Virginia, Ashburn, according to John Hopkins, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think I was born in Maryland. I think they got it wrong.
They got it fucked up.
Listen, I don't tell the truth to anyone at that school. So like, I think,
Okay, well then see, there you go.
yeah, that's
right.
it. That's my fault. I was born in Maryland, so it's
Okay.
like one state over. So yeah.
God damn it. You know what? My research sucks ass, but whatever, it's fine.
It's not your fault.
God damn it. Fuck. All right, now it's fuck John Hopkins because lied right to my fucking face. Unreal. But all right, so you're from Maryland. DMV parts, I would assume.
Yes.
So talk about growing up in Maryland in the DMV, because I enjoy the music quite much in that area, but I kind of want to know the living situations down there.
So truth be told, I moved around like a decent amount. And so I was born in Maryland, lived in Maryland until I was 4. Then I moved to Virginia, Ashburn, it's where like the basis of it came from. And then I moved to England in 2nd grade, and I was there for 3 years. And then back to Virginia at 5th grade, and then I've been in Virginia ever since. And so, yeah, that's been the process. So,
Okay.
oh god, the full DMV experience didn't come until like after 5th grade, but I mean, it was cool. Like I live in the suburbs, so I live like an hour, like 30, 45 minutes outside of DC, and so it's just like slow suburbia, a place you can't wait to get out of,
Right.
or you can't wait to stay in forever. those are the only 2 options. You either go to college and like never come back,
Mhm.
or you go to college and then you do what your parents did for the next 30 years. And those are the only 2 options. And it's like the type of place where the only thing fun to do is go get food in a parking lot and then sit there for 2 hours and go back home.
That sounds like my area. Holy shit.
America's all the same.
Yeah, that's true. We would hang out at Dunkin' parking lots and
oh god.
yeah, like I said, it was Dunkin', and then there was a supermarket. So we would just, and I used to hang out with like skating kids from time to time. So they would just skate and fucking do whatever. And then they became Jeep guys. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't do this anymore.
You were in fucking purgatory. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Yeah. Dude, listen, Scranton, people give Scranton a decent name because of The Office. It's fucking garbage. The Office lied right to your face.
I think what people forget is that like they didn't portray Scranton as good in The Office. It just The Office just happened to be in Scranton.
Yes.
Like the town like looked like pretty like normal shit. Like and like people were like, oh, Scranton. Like, no, it's just like middle America, USA.
Yeah, it's just awfulness. It's just, I mean, if you look at Pennsylvania though, to be quite honest, it's more like, besides Philly and like Pittsburgh, it's actually kind of more of a city feel, because once you leave, it's literally nothing but woods, and it's fucking horrible. Like, it's even worse than Scranton in most places in PA.
See, with like Virginia, like my area, it's like suburbs, and so you're in like what people like to call Nova, which is just the worst place in the world.
Okay.
So there's really only 3 real parts of Virginia that matter.
Okay.
And so you have Nova, you have Richmond, and then you have like the Norfolk area, like Virginia Beach, that area, and then there's nothing else in between. It's like everything else is Hicks, backwoods, and racism, and it's like like, and there's like colleges like just like dropped in between like little supply posts for like, oh, maybe I want to stop here and get food if I'm like driving down somewhere, but places you never want to stop in, and
No.
you never want to visit nonetheless. And so that's
Yeah.
Virginia in a nutshell. Just
That
hell.
sounds a lot like PA, especially because like, so like I had friends that went to Penn State, Maine, so we would drive there from time to time to have a lot of fun. And like with the first time we went down, we stopped at a convenient because we just needed like a drink and to like use the bathroom real quick. And I shit you not, I think there was like 3 to 4 people in there, and like all of them had like maybe one tooth combined. It was literally the worst time of my life. I'm like, this is like none of them are like able to speak or say words because it's just gums. I'm like, yo, this is fucking tragic. Holy shit.
So here's what it is like. So I went to a bunch of baseball tournaments growing up, and so there's like this one complex in Southern Virginia, VSC. It's like 2.5 hours away. So we always drive down there, and there, I can't remember the interstate. It's either 95 or 83, but on the side of the road there is the biggest Confederate flag you have ever seen in your entire life. Like I'm talking bigger than like most like ballpark. Like it's massive. It would cover like the side of a skyscraper. That's how big it is. And so you just grow up seeing that like every couple of weekends, and you're just like, this is the state I live in. Like this like you live in Nova and you're like, oh, like maybe like Virginia's pretty cool, but then like you go like an hour south and it's just that
horrible. Yeah. that is nuts. I did not know that about Virginia, to be quite honest with you.
Most states are like that. Like the more you figure it out, like I've seen, like I've been driving through Pennsylvania like my entire life too. Like Pennsylvania, enough Confederate flags to match Virginia.
Yeah.
Like people forget, like it's not the South. It's not just the South.
That's what I like. I'm like, bro, do you think you live in the fucking South? Why is this happening right now?
Because America's racist. That's what it's like. And like everyone and like people in the North like to pretend that like their state, like, oh, we're above the Mason-Dixon, we're chilling. I was like, you are absolutely not chilling. Go an hour outside of NEC. Go 30 minutes. Go 5 minutes in the wrong direction in one city, and you're gonna hit a form of racism that you did not think appeared below Maryland.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it gets brutal in some places, even in my area. But like, it is kind of shocking when like, because I didn't really understand it like when I was younger and like seeing all that shit. But I was like, God damn, like what the fuck is happening right now? This is just weird.
Something you pick up pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're like just like growing up black, obviously, but like you're always aware of it at some point, and so it's just like it's figuring out how to navigate any situation possible.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your love for baseball. You are playing right now for John Hopkins. Again, carries the offense and defense for those who didn't hear. But on a serious note, when did the love for baseball start, and like how did that process grow to where it is now?
It started like I think from as soon as I could like walk or like anything. Like it was just like baseball was always on. Like we were always throwing balls outside in the grass when I was like 1 or 2, and I started playing when I was 4. Like that was like my first like league of like time playing t-ball, and it was just something I like stuck with. Like I played other sports. I played the basketball. I played soccer. You did all of that, but like I just like fell in love with baseball from like the moment. And I think pretty early on I decided like I wanted to like go as far as I could in the sport. I think like age like 8 or 9, I was like I want to play baseball, and so the entire process to this point has just been like having fun in every other sport, but baseball is like the one.
Yeah, and you played a couple positions. I don't know what you played in high school. I don't even want to look it up because apparently fucking what I look up tells me all the wrong shit. So I'm not even gonna bring up stats or anything like that because I'm probably fucking wrong. But you went out to high school, and then were you getting recruited heavily after high school? Like, what was, because me being the unathletic person I have never really had people want me to play a sport for them. People don't want me to play pickup at my own fucking park. So let alone, let alone a college wanting to play. But yeah, talk about that process and like, the high school, what team did you play for and all that shit, and like what position did you play, everything, the whole nine?
Well, so I think from a pretty early age, or like a pretty early time in like high school, I was pretty like driven academically. And so there was always the scope of wanting to go to a good academic school and also play baseball. And so like I went to in addition to like my normal high school, I went to like a magnet like STEM high school. And so I was doing all that at the same time. And so I played for like one like showcase team in addition to high school ball with my he was my hitting coach, and then like formed into like he had a showcase team, and I joined that team, and I stuck with him through all high school. And he helped coach Eric Crozier. He's a former MLB guy.
Okay.
So he helped me around a bunch. But like for what it's worth, I wasn't getting like crazy like recruiting burn. Like I was like pretty solid in high school, but I'm like short. I'm not I'm not like a massive dude. I'm short. I make contact, and like that was like I played well in the field. So that was like it. And I also had like the idea of I was like so set on doing like environmental engineering, like going into college. And so
Right.
when going to like showcase camps and like tournaments and like emailing coaches, like along with like wanting to play for them, I also had the idea that they have to have a good environmental engineering program so I can, get like the most out of both. So that lowered the scope to schools anyway. So like I really I only had like 3 offers out of high school. Like Johns Hopkins is D3. I had another offer like from UMBC and from Lafayette in Pennsylvania. So like those were like my 3 schools. And the funny thing is, like I got to Hopkins after like accepting the offer and like getting in or whatever, and I immediately changed my major like 4 weeks in. like it didn't even take a month for me, and like I was cutting schools out of like my target like left and right. It's like, oh man, like they don't have a good environmental engineering. You guys don't have the academics that I want. And like I get the Hopkins, and I hate environmental engineering with a passion. Like, it's like so boring. And I was just like, wow. Now I'm here.
I will not go to this school unless they have a good environmental engineering program. Fuck this goddamn program. It sucks.
It's so bad. And I like, it was like, oh, like having to tell like my parents, I was like, yeah, I'm changing my major. They were like, are we dead ass? Like, are we serious? Like we spent literally all this time. I was like, listen, I hear you. It's also ridiculous to me as well.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah. So let's figure out something else, please.
Yeah, but I was here at Hopkins, and it's been like I love the campus, love the school. So it works out. And then baseball program is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're in Maryland, which you were born in and all that stuff. So it is kind of a plus in that sense as well.
Yeah, like I grew up. My whole family's from Baltimore, so I grew up being at my cousin's house, being at my grandma's house in Baltimore. I grew up an Orioles fan, so like
okay.
Hopkins was like the perfect mix of like familiarity, sports, school, to where like I'm just super comfortable in the city.
Now, before we get into more about playing for John Hopkins, you said you're an Orioles fan. I don't watch baseball too much. Is it an awful experience? Because I remember when I was kind of into I'm trying to get back into it a little bit. I don't know if the Orioles are absolute trash or not. Besides Cal Ripken, that's the only guy I know. So, are the Orioles still absolutely garbage, or are they okay?
So here's the process that I've had as an Orioles fan. I was born in '98. Their
Mhm.
last like great year before '98 was '97, and then my entire life up to like 2011, they were one of the worst. They were consistently a garbage team.
Yeah.
Like, like I love them with a passion, but I was rooting for losers every year.
Yeah.
Like they were like 66 and 96, and it was just awful. But like I loved every second of it. Like Orioles games were the best. Like I loved every player. Every Oriole from '98 to 2011 is an Orioles legend in my book. Besides Aubrey Huff. Aubrey Huff can go choke on a fucking stick for all I care.
Fuck
But
Aubrey Huff.
yeah, till it's backwards.
Mhm.
But and so 2011 was like the year where like in September they started beating all the good teams for fun, and I was like, okay, this is something.
Yeah.
Then they made the playoffs in 2012 and like won a wild card game, and I was like, huh. I was like, okay.
Mhm.
And like they were like average in 2013, and then they were the best team in baseball in 2014, and like I knew it, and then they got swept, and then 2016 was the year that they made the worst decision in the playoff history by leaving their closer on the bench and putting in like a starter who threw like 87 and gave up a walk off, and they've just been forsaken for garbage sense. So now I'm rooting for lovable losers, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like I'm holding out for tanking and hoping, but but I'm far too deep to abandon the Orioles now. You could never tell me anything about the Orioles. People
Yeah.
tell me they suck all the time, and I'm like, yeah, we're watching the same games. Like I've watched every game. You don't have to tell me they suck. I obviously enjoy watching them suck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was an A's fan. Then I remember going to a Yankees A's game, and the A's lost by like fucking 10 runs. But Alfonso Soriano hit 2 home runs in that game. And when I was like 7, and I became an Alfonso Soriano fan until he retired. And now I'm an A's fan again, and they can never win a wild card game. So I'm like, well, this team fucking can fuck themselves.
Yeah, it's almost worse.
Yes, it is. It's
it's
100% worse.
it's objectively worse to be attached to a team that is always like above average and never sees success to
Never.
where like I'm rooting for the Orioles and I'm so excited about every win that
Yeah.
comes once every 5 games because like you don't expect it to happen, but I'm
No.
so happy when it does, and I
Yeah.
can make fun of the teams who lost because what are you doing losing to the Orioles?
Yeah.
But, and so I get that satisfaction, and I know eventually we're not going to suck again.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's going to be, but eventually we're not going to be garbage.
You're right.
Average to above average teams, there's no hope.
None.
Like you feel like you've reached your ceiling.
Yep. That's literally all it is. It's like every time I'm like, oh, we're winning games. And I'm like, well, I can't get hype about this because they'll make the playoffs and lose in the wild card. And then I'm going to be like, well, why the fuck do I root for a piece of shit team that can never do? Because they don't spend money from what I understand. So I'm like, well, the fuck it. I'm pretty sure we lost like 2 guys that were like really good. Again, still trying to get back into it. I don't know players' names for shit, but like, I'm like, can they sign fucking anybody worth the shit after they do good for them? Like, God damn it. They're like, all right, you did really good. Now it's time for you to get paid elsewhere. That's not here.
Correct.
Because we only win with players that make $3 an hour. So good luck. God bless. It's
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks for your service. Get the fuck out and go be successful elsewhere. Like, all right, great. So fuck. I'm pretty sure they wasn't a Matt Chapman or something. I forget.
He's still there. Don't worry about it.
He's still there? Okay,
Yeah,
he's still there.
Yeah,
there was a guy that I saw his name and I'm like, I know him and I know he's good and I'm pissed that he's fucking gone.
I don't know what you're talking about. Chris Davis.
Yeah,
Chris Davis is on. He got traded to the Rangers.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
He's really good. Now trade him the fuck away.
Awesome.
Correct. Enjoy that.
Yeah, that's. I'll hold on to that one because never mind. All right, so back to you and John Hopkins and all that. So, you go there. From what I understand, you didn't play a lot to begin, and that's probably a little stressful for anyone that's, trying to get in, because is it D3? Is it a D3, D2?
D3.
D3. So, maybe the expectations were a little higher for you at that point. Maybe they weren't. Talk about that and, how it progressed to where it is now.
So what it was, I broke my hand my freshman year. I got 4 at bats, and so I went 1 for 3 with a walk, or 4 plate appearances. And I went 1 for 3 with a walk, and then I shattered a bone in my hand on a swing, and so then I missed the rest of my freshman year, and so I just spent the rest of the time rehabbing, and then I came back sophomore year, somehow won the third base job, and then played average statistically. If you look at the stats, if you look at specific stats, I was very much just an average baseball player,
Right.
which was relatively disappointing because I knew I could play better, but I hit 242, and I had a shit fielding percentage because it was my first time playing third base. And
right.
my arm turned into noodle every time I had to throw the ball, and so I was putting errors up like they were hits, and so but I was doing other things well. So I started I think the second most games. So I played all of my sophomore year, and we made it to the World Series. So the years I've been active, it's been good. And then last year, I played pretty well pre-COVID. I was very much coming into my own.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is I did some hitting in between. So I tore I also had another injury. I tore my hip. I tore a labrum in my hip sophomore year, in the middle of the season, in March. And I had no idea. I went to go do a barehanded play, and it felt like I pulled it. And so basically I spent the next 2 or 3 months rehabbing it, taping it up, and playing the rest of the season. I started the rest of the games. And so we get to the World Series, and I get an MRI, and my trainer was like, "Yeah, your hip is torn." And I was like, So I played the last 2.5 months on a torn hip, and right before we're flying to Iowa, which is, by the way, the worst state in the fucking 50 states. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. But
Okay.
So yeah, I have a torn labrum that I've never gotten fixed, and so I spent all of the summer and the fall rehabbing that. So we get to last year, junior year, and it's my first time seeing a ball move since May.
Mm.
And yeah, and I don't know what happened. I just started playing. I just stopped sucking. I wish I think I got choked up, maybe I choked up and stopped taking so many pitches, and I started playing better, and then the season got canceled. So now here we are, but that's been the process. Every year I've been active, I've been able to be contribute and be a part of the team, which is all you can ask for.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, 2 things. One, you said you never even got surgery for the hip?
No.
How does it feel now? I can't imagine it, it gets better, but maybe, I've never torn a hip, so I don't really know.
Oh no, it doesn't feel good.
No.
Ever. I just stretch to mitigate it. I do a lot of stretching before, but it's not something that fuses on its own. That shit's just detached.
Yeah.
And so we're getting through the last couple of seasons I have, and then we'll deal with that later.
Okay. I mean, as long as you can hold it off, I guess. I mean, good for you. I mean, I know because Isaiah Thomas, he had the hip thing, and that kind of fucked him up. So I'm surprised that it hasn't done infected, you torn it and got better. So I don't really know. I don't really know how that works. But hey,
maybe if
whatever.
I tear the other one, I'll get even better. Maybe that's the key. Maybe if I tear both hips, I'll bat 400, and then I'm gonna try it out.
I wouldn't try that out. But
well, you don't play baseball, so you don't know.
you wouldn't know. You just simply wouldn't know.
You know what? I wouldn't know. So I'm going off a cause and effect relationship right now, and I tore a hip and I got exponentially better at the sport. So
you didn't need a hip.
If my math is correct, if I tear 2 hips, I get even better.
Or it can even out and you would go back to 242.
Yeah, that would be awful. I'd have to find another ligament to tear.
Yeah, you have to tear an Achilles or some shit. I don't know.
All right, relax.
Relax. Listen, that was the first ligament that came to my head. So
that was the first one. I would never walk again. Two torn hips and no ankle.
Well, what do you want from me? All right, I don't know. Shit, I never tore anything.
Learn basic kinesiology one time. Jesus Christ.
Listen, I'm just going off what my dad used to tear. That's it. I don't know. Anyway, fuck it. So, junior year, you're coming to your own, and then the shit ends. I mean, how deflating was that? Because like that like you were I don't know the record and everything like that. Like I don't know what your stats were at that point, but I mean, you guys were on such a roll, and then it just ends like that. Like what? Like it feels like your whole season is gone for you.
Yeah, it was weird because so we made it to the World Series the year before, and that year we didn't think we were going to be like great at all. Like we thought we were going to compete. We always compete for the conference. We're always like either top 2 or top 3. Always like we win it most of the time. And then we made the World Series and we like ran through the entire table. But like that team was like good. The junior year team was the best baseball team I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And like and there was just a feeling after like the opening weekend, like we just weren't like we got swept the first game, and then we dropped another game the next weekend. And then we like something just clicked, and we just didn't. We were showing up to games as loose as possible, and just like approaching every game like we are going to win this game. Like that was the best baseball team I've ever been a part of, and so like we're on a roll. I think we were 12. We were 9-3. We were 9-3, and we get to Florida. And it was weird because we take a spring break trip, and it comes, and that was when other teams were starting to shut things down. That was when other programs had already canceled their season or suspended their season, and we play one game right before, and there were a bunch of the seniors were making jokes, and they were like, this is our senior night, haha, because they were worried, and. Yeah. And I was like, no, guys, like maybe it'll be fine. And the school let us go to Florida like after that game. And so we get down there, and we're down in Florida, and we're about to play our first game like the next day after we get down there. And we see the team before us. They won their last game. And then like we see them like as we're warming up, the coach tells them their season just got canceled. And that was just like you saw it right in front of you, and you saw like other people's careers end, and you're just like, okay, this is very real. Like this thing is not only is it affecting like sports, but like it's affecting like obviously it's like killing people and getting people sick, but like being on like a college campus that hadn't been infected, you hadn't seen that yet. And so you hadn't really seen any sort of effect of it in person. And then you get down there and someone's like, my career's over. And so we play that game just with like that like phantom in the back of your head. And we win that game. We beat that team like 6-1 or something, I don't remember. And then our coach says, our athletic director just called, you guys have to fly back. You guys are flying back to Baltimore and your season's being suspended. So we're in the middle of just Fort Myers, Florida, and There's literally only one thing to do, and we go get drunk at Dave and Buster's because like you're just like I don't know, like you're just like and everyone sort of had a feeling. Everyone had a feeling like the term used was suspended, but like a lot of the guys knew
It was over.
Yeah. And so, and it was especially bad because, we were juniors. And so we have our senior class. And so those are the guys who introduced us to the athletic program. Those are like the guys who were closest to us. And we were expecting to get a full season with them, to get the whole last hurrah, get the celebration at the end.
Yeah.
And it gets cut off in a Holiday Inn in Fort Myers, Florida. And you gotta say goodbye to 13 of your best friends as in the parking lot, and it's just like everyone's like crying and hugging, and like it sucks,
Yeah.
but it's almost like for a lot of the time I was like strangely okay because it was out of our control. It's not like anything happened. It's not like anything occurred that got our season canceled. Anything. It was just like it got swept up in the wind of a global pandemic.
Yeah.
And like my coping strategy is like, so sometimes things like that happen, and so it's like it sucked, but
Yeah.
there's literally nothing you could do. You can't like fight it. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple people that were playing baseball and basketball at that time, and it ruined their senior nights. And it's just kind of like their senior years, and it's like, damn, like you put all that work, like you have one more year left, so like I mean, it still sucked for you, but like it wasn't the complete end. Whereas people, who like dedicated themselves, like just like you, have their last year just cut in half, just done when you didn't expect it. That's fucking brutal. Like that is
Awful.
yeah.
Like I can't imagine it.
And so how does senior year go now with the team and all that? Because do you have to wear a mask? How different are things when you're training or when you're about to play in a game? Like what is going to be the big difference between like regular life baseball and pandemic baseball for college?
So we just started practice this past week, but we're all masked up at all times. We're practicing like little pods instead of full practices so far. So it's something you got to ease into as restrictions, if restrictions like get softened. But so like we're masked up, socially distanced. It's like real life, like, and like you can, like there's nothing to escape, and so practices are just like little workouts at this point.
Yeah.
The worst thing is like, sometimes your mask is like your mask won't stay on your ears when like you're wearing a helmet. But like it's not like it's not awful. Like I've been wearing a mask every other day of the year. So
Right.
putting it on to run and hit and field, it's not crazy. It's just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I just imagine when you're like, not that I've seen like gone to any games or anything, but like when you see like pictures like in my high school, like my area, they're like basketball, you have to wear the mask the entire time. And maybe it's just me because I can't breathe when I play basketball after 3 minutes. But when other kids are playing, it's like that's probably got to be annoying, or just maybe they do have problems breathing or something like that. Like baseball, I can't imagine is as bad in that sense. So maybe that's a good thing that it's like that. But like I can't imagine like a basketball player like doing that right now. Like I would imagine like NBA players, if they had to wear a mask, they probably wouldn't do it. I don't know why, but I just imagine they'd be like, this is not happening.
Yeah, baseball's easy. Like it's like I'm standing at at second base or shortstop or whatever. Like it's easy to wear a mask. It's easy to wear a mask when you're at the plate. Oh,
Yeah.
did I freeze?
You good?
Back?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's super easy to wear a mask. Like it's not like super difficult. You run for like 5 seconds at a time, maybe like
Right.
5 to 10 seconds, and so suck it up.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like you're not doing much. Like
Right.
it's the easiest sport to adhere to COVID guidelines, and so
Right.
shouldn't be a problem.
Absolutely.
This is your senior year, with not being able to really see teammates that much. Like you said, it's not even like a practice; it's more like a workout. Like, how do you handle the chemistry and everything that evolves around that? Because I feel like that would be such a tough process to go around, because you're the senior. I would assume maybe you're like the captain, or one of the captains, or one of the guys that people go to for whatever. So like, how do you handle such situations when new guys coming in, and even teammates along the way that you really didn't get to play with too much? Like, talk about that experience, and what's that been like for you so far?
I mean, it's just like I've met a lot of the freshmen this week for the first time, because it's the first time just like that I would have seen them from the fall semester, because we were all online. So it's all been Zooms and whatnot. And so I'm meeting them for the first time. It's just, it's making friends super quick. And the best way to make friends is also while working out at baseball practice and figuring it out. So, if they're in your pod, then you interact with them, and you get to know them super quick. And the baseball team is like a family, and so you're bringing in new family members. And so even if it feels like it's rushed, it doesn't really matter at that point, because you're here now, and now you're a part of it. So that's the mentality everyone takes. And so it's weird at first, because like I can't recognize most of these guys like already. Like everyone looks the same to me, but
Yeah.
like everybody with their mask on looks the same. And so it's a little bit of adjustment period, but it'll be to normal as soon as like things start to open up.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully it is soon, with the vaccines and all. Hopefully everything goes well. Do you guys have, like, get like a vaccine? Like, do you guys get like that opportunity, or do you have to kind of schedule that yourself type of deal?
I guess you got to schedule it yourself. There's been no like, hey, you're about to go play a college baseball season. Here's a vaccine. It's like, I don't know, don't get sick.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you this though. I'm technically an essential worker at my job, and I don't get them either. Like, so you kind of have to schedule it on your own and lie that you have some type of illness that you need it badly,
Right.
or else you don't
Yeah.
get it. So always lie. Fuck the government. Anyway, fuck that shit. All right, so we talked about your baseball career and how you carry the offense and defense, but now I want to I'm gonna keep saying it until that's gonna be the title.
The anchor. I don't put that. don't put that. That shit is so bad. I read that and I was like, that is the dumbest sentence in the world. They look like they didn't watch a single baseball game, and we only had 12 games. And so they just looked on the stat sheet and they were like, that guy.
That's the
And,
guy.
and they are probably wrong. They are probably wrong. I don't know if I sent them off with my stats, but like I'm not it.
I'm not.
I am not the player. I am not the guy.
Jimbo's the guy. Jimbo's
Yeah,
the guy.
no, hey, listen. James loves that shit. Tell James he's the best player in the world.
I could see it. Where did the chain come in, by the way? Where did that come from? Is that just from the Miami shit that they used to do?
So James, the addition of James to having me on the team brought in a lot more comfort and swagger, and a lot more willingness to have fun between the two of us.
Yeah.
And so the chain was James brought up the chain to me like at some point, and I was like, let's do it. And I was like, and you got enough guys who, when they hit home runs, they want to feel good about hitting home runs. And so
Right.
last season we just brought out the chain, like a $25 like double dollar chain, and just the sunglasses. And I'm sure teams hated us because we were putting balls out like it was nothing. Like we played one game against Penn State Harrisburg. I don't know if you know where they are, but like so we played them and we hit six solo home runs. And every time it's not like we hide the chain in the glasses. Like the chain and the glasses are brought out in front of the dugout and the dude's helmet is off and everything it's glasses, chain, and then part like the Red Sea. And so I'm sure teams hate it, but like that's just what we do. And it's a lot of fun. And that's how the greatest picture in the world came to fruition because I hit a home run. I put that shit onto University Parkway behind the field. I hit like a car and like
oh shit.
And like I don't usually bat flip, but I bat flipped that one because because they the other team bat flipped before, yada yada yada. But so I hit mine, I was like, oh, tossed it, and then James knighted me with the necklace and the glasses, and that shit was born. They actually that's like the cover photo for like a couple. Like there was like a preseason recap that the Hopkins Sports did themselves, and they used that picture, which is the funniest thing in the entire world. Like
that is so great.
It is impossible. It is impossible to imagine that before James and I are there.
Oh yeah.
And now it's there, and so it's just sitting on the. If you go to the baseball site, that is the first image you're going to see. Me and James. Just.
Oh my god. Yo, James is hysterical. First off, let me just say that.
He is so stupid, man. He's so dumb.
When I saw that picture, it looked like he was like so desperate to put it on you. I was like, this is the best fucking picture I've ever seen in my life. That is saved to my phone for future references in life.
As it should be. It's a perfect photo.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's how I wanted to end the baseball talk. That's exactly how I wanted to end. So let's talk about you and getting into music and kind of, you said you had to switch majors. So, you go into, I thought I saw it was English. Again, this was wrong before. So I don't know if this is, again, my research is all messed up now, but it said it was English. I'm assuming, and it was like a side major in communications. So where does that come into play after the engineering shit?
So I was taking a psych class, like in addition to the core engineering classes I had to take freshman year. And I always liked psych because I took it in high school, whatever. So I was like, oh, let me keep doing that. And then I started writing for the campus newspaper. I started writing for the sports section. And I started really liking doing that. That was like my first foray into writing. And so that happened first semester. And then my friend Nate Martinez, he lived on my floor, and like my floor was like super close. We were always out there listening to music and whatnot. And so one day he hit me up in like December and was like, yo, do you want to start a music blog? It's just like out the blue. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'd gotten into writing. Like I started to really enjoy writing about sports. And so then I was like, oh, I love music and we love talking about it. And so we just started that. So NTViews was born like that. And we just started like reviewing albums we liked, reviewing shit we were listening to. And it sort of just stayed like that. And so like I would write sports for the newsletter. I'd write about music for NTViews. And sometimes I'd dabble about sports on NTViews if I felt like it. And so we kept bringing on more writers, like just friends who wanted to write. But yeah, so like that's always been like the home for me to like just self-publish anything I want. And so yeah, so that's what it is. That's home base for me. That was like the start of me writing about music.
Yeah. And it's a lot. It's so interesting when you think about just like how easy it is to kind of just start some shit like in the blogging era or the blogging, like when you're trying to like get your kind of foot in the door with writing. Like I started a blog on WordPress, And by the way, it's the worst shit I've ever written in my life. But it was so easy to just kind of start some shit and just kind of like build an audience or like a following or just have people read your shit, because there's not like so many opportunities just coming up the gate. At least like in my end, like they gave out one internship in college and they pretty much knew right before who was going to get it. So it was kind of like, what's even the point of me doing the shit? But like now it seems like that creating your own shit is the new thing to do. And you were doing it through Medium, or were you doing it through the Substack at the time?
It started off WordPress, and then it was its own site on WordPress. It was just ncviews.com, and then we stopped like wanting to pay for it. Nate wasn't writing as much, so now it just sits on it's just I just run it through the WordPress now. But yeah, like the reason I'm doing like an English and a psych degree is because there's no journalism major at Hopkins, and so like everything you do journalism wise is self-sufficient at Hopkins. Like you have like you write for the newspaper, and like that's a lot of times people's only outlet for journalism until you start doing internships and going out and trying to get jobs for yourself. And so everything you do at Hopkins as a journalist is like you're under your own volition. So
Right.
It's stuff like, so that's always been sort of the theme with people who write at Hopkins and people who want to get in stuff like that. And so like that's basically what I've been doing. Yeah.
That's wild that there's no journalism degree or like a course or anything like that.
Right.
Like was there ever a consideration of you transferring since that was kind of like a thing where like you couldn't do the journalism thing? Because I'm assuming that's kind of what you wanted to kind of get into. So like, is it like it's clearly not hindered a single thing you're doing at this very moment. So like, I guess it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But like in the beginning where you're like, I want to do journalism, and like John Hopkins just doesn't have it. So like, what, like, was there like a thought of transfer?
Not really, because baseball was always tying me here, and I looked around, like journalists. I looked at journalists like people who I like follow. Like I was I was watching ESPN one time, and it was like Carrie Champion. She's an English major. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's dual. Like you don't need a journalism degree per se to get into journalism at all. So, I was like, I'm rocking with I'm going to be rocking with 2 degrees from a pretty great school. So I'll be fine. I was never like, I never like hit the panic button. I was like, we're going to play it out here and see where it goes. But, I feel okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most of the time, at least at this point in particular, the degree of journalism isn't really needed when it comes to shit like this. Maybe I'm wrong in that aspect, but like my degree has not gotten me a job. So like, it's like, it almost seems, I don't want to say worthless, but like it probably be in a better interest to kind of like not go at this point. Like if you were to really get into it, as long as you learn through people you like inspired to like learn from. Like I always loved Jeff Weiss, so like that's how I kind of try to model myself after, or like multiple writers. And then it came, you find guys like yourself and Caleb and all that. So it's like, do I think journalism is the like going to school for it is like a bad idea? No, but like at the same time, you probably don't need it as much as like you would in other job areas.
Yeah, like I'd agree with that. Like people who I talk to, like sports writers I know, some of them don't even have journalism degrees. Like some people just get into it and then break into it. And I'm sure music writers, they don't have journalism degrees. So it's not super essential. I'm sure it helps like a lot in some other ways than others, but like obviously it's not the only way to get in. So like I'm like I would never never look down on anyone who doesn't, or anyone who does have a journalism degree. Because first of all, who cares? Because like a journalism degree doesn't say that you can write. but also a lack of one also says that you can't. So this is that same type deal. Like if you have it, then you have it. But
Exactly. Yeah. I just don't feel it's super necessary. Like people that want to get into it, they're gonna get into it no matter how they feel, you know. So it is what it is on that end. So also go fuck college. But anyway. So you get into it, you know, you start your own blog. Where does the following come? Because you do have a decent amount of followers, not to, you know, whatever, but like, not that that's like the pinnacle of success or anything like that, obviously, but like, where does it like kind of start picking up and like getting you some like notoriety like in the journalism field, in the like music journalism community?
you know, I don't know. Cause like because like I just like look at it like I'm on Twitter all the time just because, you know, I'm bored. And so like I was never producing articles like a crazy rate or anything.
Right.
But you know, I was on there more often than not, like just like making jokes and, you know, like making friends. And then like I drop an article like once a month or something. And
Right.
then, you know, like I kept like I would just like slowly get followers, not from writing, but just from, you know, like interacting with more people on a daily basis. And then
Right.
like as I like progressed as a writer, I think I want to say like 2019 was like the beginning of when like writing shit started to click for me, at least like interaction wise. Like people, like a lot more people started to read what I was putting out. um like a like I did a couple long form reviews and like some R&B articles. Like I wrote about Duran Jones and the Indications, and I wrote about the Snow Allegra article, like the Snow Allegra album. Like those were two pieces where people were like, oh, this is like really good. And you know, I guess from that point, I would interact with writers a little more. And also there was like the mixture of also writing about sports. Like I would put out sports articles too, and then I'd access like that side of Twitter who like talks about basketball and talks about baseball. And so
Right.
I was always in all those fields because like everyone talks about that, but not everyone writes about everything that they talk about. And
Right.
so I would do that. And so like I would have people like, there are a bunch of basketball guys who like I follow and who I follow me back. And like some bigger accounts, they'll retweet an article, and then you're like, oh, like I gained a couple followers from that. And so just like random shit like that. But like like I can't even call it a following. Like it's like it's like I don't like I hate the idea of it being a following. Like because like it's people who I talk to like almost every day.
Right.
But it's all just luck. It's all just people not hating what I say on a daily basis. Like I don't write enough for people to always have opinions on my writing. Like that's not like the only basis, but it's
Right.
like I guess people don't hate me.
Right.
Don't hate the things that I say on Twitter. And so so I like I'm not losing followers at a rapid basis. So and
You haven't been canceled by anyone yet, so that's good. You know, you're doing your thing.
yeah. But yeah, no, just random shit like that. Like it's just luck. Like I'm not doing anything in particular. I'm just talking, and people sometimes like what I say.
Yeah. But look, I mean, it's also hard work in this shit too. When you're writing, like people take a liking to that shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you're not gaining these followers. At least for me, like to me, out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like you're gaining these followers from working hard on these articles and pushing it out and like doing the research. Like you're not just like putting out some bullshit. You know what I mean? Because anyone could write some shit, put it out, and then no one give a fuck about it. But you're putting out some dope shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, I appreciate that, but like I until recently I never started like thinking about like my writing as a whole as like dope. Like I think about my writing just as like, oh, I really like this album, and let me talk about it for 2,000 words while I just ramble for a little bit. And then
Right.
if people read it, then they're like, and they don't think I'm certifiably insane, then that's perfect. But like my writing's always just been like, here's what I like about something, and let me describe like what I'm hearing and like what I'm feeling, and then if people resonate with it, then they resonate with it. And so usually that's like the easiest way to go, because like I'm not trying to do anything special. Like
Right.
I'm like I do nothing crazy in my writing, which is odd to say, but like I'm just putting thoughts on a screen.
I guess. Yeah, I would disagree, but hey, that's, be humble. I feel gotta be humble in this shit sometimes.
I mean,
so
like I do okay. Like I do okay.
listen, you could say all the I'm gonna know it's okay, but like you nice with it, so stop lying. So anyway, we're not even gonna acknowledge your humbleness. Fuck that shit. All right. I do the same shit. Not acknowledging your humbleness. So 2020 was a pretty good year for you too. I think the first place you like out of the 4 that you named. Well, no, Red Bull was the first one, but Complex is the one that like I feel like a lot of people started taking notice, and also like a lot of us like because I say we were pretty close in the writing community. Like a lot of us were like really good friends with shit. When we saw you on Complex, and I forget the first article you did on there because I know you've done 2 or 3 since then. But that first article you did on Complex, I think it was like a collaboration one, wasn't that?
Yeah.
That one. So like how did that relationship come about? Because Complex that's a big step right there.
I hate to say it, but like every chance that I've gotten is just like off of chance. It is 100% luck. Like I know like the background work, like I've done a bunch of writing that people like take notice of, but like I had an editor reach out to me, Eric over at Complex, and he was like, hey, like I've been reading some of your stuff, and like you should pitch me something. And I was like, okay. like and that was just never a thing I thought would come to fruition. Like that and like Red Bull, it was never anything where I was like, let me go out and do this. Let me go out and search for these opportunities, because that I want to say that was the summer of 2020. I was in like a mental and like emotional rut like throughout like that entire time. Like I was down horrific. I was down awful throughout those months. And so and it's just a crazy juxtaposition, because like I was not doing well at all, but in like those months where it was the worst, I was getting Red Bull, Complex like back to back, and it was just like, oh, like this is very cool, but it wasn't something I was like hoping to get or like searching for. And so like as much as weird as it sounds, I find myself extremely lucky in every situation, because like that's just what it is. Like it's luck. It's like good luck. As weird as it sounds, it is good luck. And and if people take note, like, because like you said, you can put out a bunch of writing and people not read it. And which is a lot of times what it feels like. Is like no matter however you feel about a piece of writing, if your only medium or your only quantitative measure for how good it is like Twitter likes, then like you're never gonna, like, sometimes you're not gonna feel like you're being noticed. And so when shit does get noticed, it's weird, because it doesn't feel like it's occurring. Like when because like I'm just putting stuff out. I'm putting album reviews and blathering on about samples for 1,500 words. And like I don't think anyone's peeping that. Like the people who I'm friends with, the people on my Snapchat, the people on my Instagram, like they're reading it, like the people who know me. But I'm not thinking editors. I'm not thinking other writers who I follow but don't follow me back see it. It's
Right.
like it's like nonsense like that. Like I don't assume any of that is occurring. And so if it does happen, then I'm like, okay, then I got extremely lucky today. Yeah, like a literal blessing fell into my lap because I never had any aspirations to do that at that moment.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too, and I'm gonna bring up a couple points through your thing there, but the one thing that I noticed is when I was in a terrible rut too, that's when things started like becoming good for me. It never seems like I'm in a good mood, and then also good shit is gonna happen for me, right? I don't know why I can never get those two to mix, but that's literally what it happens. I'm in a shit rut, and then like I get like a crazy follow from somebody from like one of my writings or whatever. Like it is the weirdest. It is weird in that aspect, especially because during that time too, like during the pandemic, like everyone was down bad at one. You know what I mean? Like especially with the George Floyd stuff and everything going on in Minnesota, and then everything going on post that with all that shit. It's just kind of like nothing ever seems to go right. So it is cool to get those moments. You know what I mean? And you've seen the God in a lot of them. And the complex one was huge. We were all like, oh shit, because I feel like we were all kind of like growing together as writers, and then you got the complex the article, and I'm like, holy shit, like things are starting to move now.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like those moments where I'm like awful, like I'm like doing awful emotionally, like
Right.
it's so hard to write during those moments. But because
Yeah.
those pieces take so long, those are also the best things that come out. And so those articles where like I'm like doing awful, like emotionally, mentally, it's like I'm pouring myself into not only this like piece of music, but also the piece of writing because it's taking ridiculous amount of effort to get through this piece. And then when you think like it's going awfully, then like sometimes some of your best stuff comes out. Like there's all these quotes about like how pain makes the greatest art, or like and it's definitely true to a certain extent, but it also is extremely taxing. And so all of that in in addition to like a positive moment in the middle, like the first Complex article, the first Red Bull article, the first time getting paid to write, because like I'd never gotten paid to ever write, and the first time that happened, I was just like floored. I was like, it makes absolutely no sense why anybody would pay me to put to and it was stuff that was like right up my alley. I got to write about samples. I got to write about feature verses. I got to nerd out about everything. I got to talk about 2 Chainz. Like that's like I got to talk about 2 Chainz for Complex. That's like the greatest thing in the entire world. And so and like those moments were ridiculously cool. So they were definitely little bright spots. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you've been killing the game. And one thing I noticed too is what you said was you feel like nobody's reading the shit, and I feel like that completely changed for you when you got the Currency shout out. That shit to me was fucking insane, and I feel like you didn't notice until like a couple like an hour or two later.
Yeah, no, because that was one of the articles where that was another article where I was like ridiculously sad. I was ridiculously sad at that moment, and then I was just pouring myself into the song because that was the most beautiful shit in the entire world. To me, at that exact moment, that Currency song was the most beautiful thing, most personal shit, just ridiculously honest. And so, like, I just wrote about it just out of the blue. And I dropped it, not thinking it was anything. It was like a 700 words or whatever. And I just think some guy in the quotes tagged him. I think that's what it was. And so I dropped it, and like I don't know, I went on like a run or something. And I come back, and it's just like, and I'm just like, I get tagged in the replies of a Currency tweet, and he's just like, I think we really did something, and it's my article. And I was like, I was just like, what? How does he see this shitty little WordPress article, or no, fucking Substack article that I just dropped on a random Tuesday afternoon? in the middle of summer. But yeah, no, that was ridiculous.
Bro, we literally all collectively lost our shit when we saw that. That was one of the dopest moments in 2020, just seeing Currency acknowledge one of, like, especially you, like, I was, because that was about Gold and Chrome, right?
Yeah.
That was my favorite song he made that year. Like, wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Like, that entire album was amazing, but like that particular song was insane. And you writing about it, I was like, this is a great article. And then he quote tweeted it and read it. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I start writing about it, I never thought that a rapper, like the person I'm writing about, is going to see it. That never enters my mind. So I'm writing like what I feel about it, and so
Right.
it's nice having other people resonate with it, but like when the actual creator of the art looks at something that I wrote about his art, and he's like, this guy really felt what I felt, and he captured my feeling at the time. That's dope. Like that is the greatest compliment I could have ever gotten.
Oh yeah, for sure. That is insane. That was such a dope moment for everybody, especially for you. That was like, I don't even remember who else it was, but like we were all just going nuts. I was like, holy shit, Currency saw this and shouted him out. Like that was awesome. I was like, holy fuck, that was like I said, not a lot of artists really care to read shit like that unless it's like a direct interview.
Or if it's negative. Like it's always like this writer didn't like what I like put out, and so I'm mad at it. Or I talked to this writer, so I'm going to retweet this article. But that felt organic, so it was really nice.
And that's just kind of the dude Currency is too. He's just an organic motherfucker. Like he just that's just something that he would read. Like he would absolutely read that shit.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite articles, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna read it after this now because I want to read it again. But so you got then you got a Pitchfork too. That shit was crazy too. What that was for? That wasn't a whole album review. That was I forget what they call it.
The ones, the Alphonse's his brainchild. He shouts out a rap song every couple of days, and that was just like another thing. He was just like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Sure."
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that happened, and then I think I did the end of year rap songs list. And got to be there. So that was super cool. And it's always funny because like I never really read Pitchfork, but I was always aware of them because I wasn't super into like music reviews or whatever. But I would hear the rappers I like talking about Pitchfork and how they hated Pitchfork. and so like I hear Childish Gambino talking about how he's not black enough for Pitchfork or whatever. And like I was like, nah, Pitchfork is the enemy. And then 14-year-old me is like, fuck Pitchfork. And then I get out here and I'm like, oh, like I get it. Like I read some reviews and I'm like, I see why artists don't like some of the stuff that gets put on there, but I also see that it's different writers, like with a great understanding how the music industry works. I'm like, okay, Pitchfork is just where people put album reviews. And like I always saw the memes of like they gave this a 10, but this is 6.1. And I'm like, and I used to get mad at that, but then I look at it, I'm like, oh, these are different people reviewing it. And I was like, it's nothing to get mad at. It's nothing to be upset at. And so like getting on the Pitchfork, like at that moment, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I didn't have like a super intense history with like hating or loving Pitchfork, but it was more like, oh, like I recognize its space in like the industry, and I was like, oh, like nice. like it'd be cool to be on here again. And then
Bro, I have the same, that like I was like, fuck Pitchfork because like Mac Miller's my favorite artist, and so he got that 1.0 on Blue Slide Park, and then he like dissed them on Desperado on what was it, Macadelic. I'm like, yes, fuck Pitchfork, they're fucking garbage. And now I'm like, I want to write for them. I want to write something for them. Like, goddamn it. I'm like, oh, how the fuck did this happen? Son of a bitch.
It's called Stockholm Syndrome. That's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that that was dope though that you got on there, and like you got on the end of the list report too. Like, like now going into 2021, you wrote for Audio Mac too, and like you got to interview Chris Crack, who I just got put onto recently because of you. So shout out to you for that one. What was interviewing Chris Crack like? Because you told me earlier that it was a really dope interview, but I kind of want to know like how he was when interviewing, because he seems like the type of guy that just like is just chilling, don't give a fuck. Especially just like, I'm basing this completely off just the titles of the songs. Like that's
Right.
it. So like I'm like, okay, this dude is clearly just like, he's just like, fuck it, we're just gonna go balls to the wall.
Chris Crack is the coolest dude in the entire world. I love that man with a like he is so great. Like
Yeah.
So I had never done an interview before. So
Yeah.
like ever. Like I like no music interviews, no nothing. And so I pitched
Wait,
that.
what?
Yeah, that was my first interview.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
What?
no, yeah.
Bro, I'm blown away. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah,
How the fuck was that your first dude? What?
Yeah, so
I
like normally stick to like album reviews and talking about random shit. And so, you know, I just felt like I pitched it on a whim on like a Monday morning, and Donna got back to me, and the editorial director for Audio Mac, and she got back to me and was like, "Yeah, no, we'd love to get this going." And I was like, I don't know I don't know what to do now. I didn't think I would get this far. I didn't I went in with absolutely no plan at all. And thank God, like God bless her, because she took, like, little did she know, she took the biggest chance on me, because I'd never done any sort of interview, and like nothing. And so I'm like reaching out to like Brandon and Dylan, and I'm like, yeah, yo, I'm like asking them all sorts of questions, like, hey, like, what's a good rate? Like, how much should I ask? Like, so that happened, and so we got it set up, and dude was just the coolest dude, man. Like, I got on, I was like super nervous, and I got on, and after like 30 seconds, we had Wi-Fi troubles just because like we both have shit Wi-Fi, but then just the easiest conversation in the entire world. It was like talking to a friend, like just like any old friend, like any old day. And you know, we got into it just felt, I can't explain it. Like we started talking about like vinyl records, and like he told me the story about him listening to Funkadelic, and like I couldn't include it in the interview just because, you know, I think I put together like a 2,500 word interview, just like the talk, and it was like only supposed to be like 1,200 words or whatever. So like I had to cut something, and so he tells me about his two favorite records, and we talk about like our mutual love of vinyls. He like talks about how he like was on shrooms listening to Maggot Brain, and I was like, I get it. I was like, I get it, and just like shit like that. And yeah, like he's the coolest dude. And so for my very first interview, it was literally a perfect experience, because, you know,
that is, bro, I threw my glasses across the fucking room because I can't even fathom. Like, I cannot believe that was your first. I could have swore you interviewed somebody before this.
No, I didn't do shit. like I was like so stagnant. I was literally just like, I would just write my reviews, you know, write about songs, write about albums, and like that was it. And then like one day, like I woke up and I was like, this Chris Crack album's coming out. I've been listening to him nonstop. Let me pitch something. And then it just happened. And then it, you know, it went really well, in my opinion. I think it was a pretty good interview. I don't know what a good interview looks like. I know what a bad interview looks like, but I don't know what a good one looks like. But I was I wasn't upset with how it came out. So I know it wasn't bad. And that's
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
that's
listen, it was a good interview. It was a good interview. If it's not a bad interview, it's a good interview. I don't think there was like a middle, like a, it was okay interview. I don't think there's that.
I guess. I don't know. I only read it once. I don't read back any of my writing. That's not true. I read the articles that I wrote when I was sad. So most of them. But but like it's always like once or twice.
Yeah, no, I'm very much the same way. I'll put it out, I'll read it once. All right, cool. There's no like grammatical errors I have to go back and fix.
Yeah,
Good.
I hate most of my own words. So
I feel like, why do I feel like most journalists do though? Like we're like, don't want to even look at this ever again.
Because I don't know. Because like we're all self-conscious, like in some sort of way, and like we always want to feel like we're growing, and then you look back at an old piece and you're like, either I stayed the same or, I've gotten better, and like I think sometimes we can get scared of that, and you go back and look at an old piece and you're like, oh, this wasn't half bad, and then like, some thoughts can creep in your head, but like for me, it's like I wrote this at a certain time of my life, and now I'm no longer at that time of my life. And then, yeah, and now it's over, and so now it's on to the next one. But there's one article that like I always go back to, and that's like the love songs article I wrote.
Yes.
I go back to that one a lot. But
yeah, that was a super emotional one for you. I feel like, for sure.
Yeah, that was more of a glorified diary entry than anything else, because I hadn't written anything. I hadn't written anything in like a couple of months, and that was probably like the lowest point I was at.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to be more open. I was trying to be more honest, like to my friends, and so like through that article, there was like a lot of like revealing of the inner emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
And I was honestly like, it was like, I don't want to like talk about it in like a qualitative sense, but that was like probably my favorite piece of writing ever. But God, did I hate writing that, and that it took so long, and I hated sharing it. Like I shared it once, and then like it got a lot of response, but like I don't like to go read it, or I don't like to think about it as much, but I end up reading it a lot just because you gotta recognize where you have been emotionally to understand like where you are. And I look at that, and that's the comparison level for me.
Yeah, I damn, that was deep. That was, I mean, there are certain parts like articles that I've written and I'm like, I go back to and read a lot, and then there are some that like I feel like don't mean, like maybe just less to me, but I also feel like they just don't mean shit to me sometimes. Right? Just write something and I'm like, even like a review, like some stuff I'm like, oh, this one really stuck with me. Like there's the Freddie Gibbs one for me, because like I'm a huge Freddie Gibbs fan. But like I wrote about like Kyle. I'm like, I don't fucking care about this. Like it's just something kind of to write and get like, not practice, but like kind of get some stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes I was writing just to write. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, I need to get some shit out there, or else I'm gonna be into irrelevant land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do understand. But I guess I just think for me, like I don't write about anything like I don't care about.
Yeah.
Like ever. Like if if I'm writing about something, it's probably because I've listened to it 40 times in the past week. And so like when it gets to that, the only way I can write is if I care about a song, or I care about an album, either positively or negatively. And so like every article is legitimately a piece of like my psyche and like my emotional state at some point. And so that's why I don't write that much. like in comparison to you guys, I don't write it I'm not writing as much as everyone else is, just because I usually I'm not in the state to write like ever, and
Yeah.
unless I'm really feeling something. Um, yeah, so I don't write that much in comparison to like a lot of like my other writer friends on Twitter, just because like usually I'm not in like the state to write, and also if I don't care about a piece, then if I don't care about an album or a song, I won't touch it, and so because it takes a lot of effort to care about something, and then to care
Yeah.
about it, and then to care about it enough to really dissect it and write about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, you could be writing for like the wrong reasons. And like I felt like for me, like I was definitely writing to like keep my name out there. And instead of like actually, I mean, like the Kyle album I wrote about, but I actually hated that album, so I needed to write about it a little bit. That was kind of a bad example, but like so like an album that was kind of like in between, like it was okay, but like I could write about it, like I could, but like I wasn't too like emotionally attached to it. You know what I mean? So I feel like this year I've been a lot better with picking what I want to write and like what I'm passionate about. And I haven't heard anything that I don't feel like I write anything negatively too much. You know what I mean? Like I haven't even heard anything this year that I'm like, this album can go fuck itself. Like I
Right,
haven't heard. I
right.
assume that the Logic one where he pretends to be MF Doom for a little bit is like that, but I didn't even bother listening to that. I didn't want to get pissed off
Yeah,
about that.
and like and like I get the idea of like not wanting to fade into irrelevancy. That's a horrifying fear for literally everybody,
Yeah.
because you never want to feel like you're speaking to a void. Um, so I get it, but I don't know. Like that fear is very secondary for me. Like it exists, but it's more
Right.
like, people are going to read it. They're going to read it, and then and if they don't, then I always know my parents will. So, like, like, like I know my parents are gonna read it. I know like three of my friends are gonna read it, and then like usually that's enough for me. like,
Yeah.
like my parents are always impressed by most things of writing I put out. Not even impressed. They'll just consume it, and so I
Yeah.
know I know someone's gonna lay eyes on it, and so
Yeah.
that's never really a huge issue for me, because I may be irrelevant to literally everyone else, but mom and dad still got me.
That is the quote of the century. I absolutely love that quote right there. That is fantastic. That is great. Like, but like, here's the thing I always wondered though about you, like, because you're playing baseball, that takes a lot of effort and time out of your day. How do you balance the two? Like, how do you balance like I gotta like practice and I gotta get better for baseball, and like you're probably putting in extra hours outside of the practice, and I gotta write about like not that you have to, but like I want to write about something. I have to put a lot of time into this because I want it to be as good as it can be. Like how do you balance those two things?
Like I'm also going to class too.
Yeah, and class, you're a student athlete. Like
Yeah.
that's three things you're balancing all in one, and the social aspect. I mean, you can't really do it. Like there's not stuff to do socially, but even before all this was happening, you still had to balance having a social life and everything else going on. Like, how do you balance all that into one thing?
I mean, they all sort of integrate. Like, like, like I'll like me caring about an article happens very randomly, and so like if inspiration like arises to like write about something for a while, then it'll just come out in like a spurt, and like I just have to do it. I'll do it like that night or whatever, and
Okay.
I'll write about it for like 2 hours, and so yeah, like I would just like randomly carve out times to put out random shit. But like I'm pretty inactive like during the season or like during the school year, just because as I've moved through school, like workload has gotten bigger. So like my most like active writing times are just in the summer, in the winter, when I'm not doing shit, when I have a lot of time to both listen to music and like think about it. And so like do I balance it? Not really. Like like you asked like how I balance it. Like I don't. Like like school is like like school and baseball, like they occur and they're the forefront during the 2 semesters, but then I spend the summer writing. I spend the winter writing. And so
Right.
and so if any writing occurs during those semesters, then it's very random. Like the Audiomac shit was random. Like it was the start of the semester, and I was like, let me
Yeah.
let me jam that in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because I'm still trying to figure out myself how to kind of integrate everything, because I don't think it's, it's easy for me right now. But like I do feel like, you balancing everything. I was kind of curious as to like how you've been able to do that, and if it integrates, then that makes a life a lot easier. You know what I mean? And you're also not forcing anything either. You're like you said, everything comes out at a random time during baseball season. If you have like 2 hours to write about something, you'll write about it. Like it is very simple. Is there anyone like that you played baseball with when you were writing that they were like reading and like, oh shit, this is dope? Or were they kind of like, because like I get people that are like very weird about it. Like if they were to ask me about like my writing, they're like, "Oh, what do you write about?" Like, and then I'm just like, "Don't even ask me that question, because like I'm not getting into this conversation. It's not even worth it between us, because you're not gonna understand what I'm saying." Like, do you ever have those moments like with your team or just like with anybody in general?
No, people are pretty, like all the people in my social circle. They're like, "Oh, you wrote this. Like, let's talk about it." Or like guys on the team, like I'll write about like albums, and like they'll reply to the story. And even guys who graduated, they'll have an opinion on it, and then we'll talk about it. And so it's always been like an atmosphere that no one's ever been like, "Oh, you put out an album review? Why?" No, it's always been like, "Oh, I like that album too," or like, "Oh, you put me onto that," and it's just like random shit like that. And so like it's been very much like, it's been nice. It's been like people respond to it. People talk to me about it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, that's a nice thing, because I don't get that a lot. I get like 4 or 5 friends that I'll talk to about it, and the rest are like, "So do you want to like drink this weekend, or do you not give a fuck about anything?" I'm like, "All right, I guess." Whatever.
I mean, like, yeah, you get the people who don't read your shit, and you get the people who read your shit, and so
Yeah.
and so when you interact with the people who read it, then it always feels nice.
Yeah.
The fact that the people who you care about something that you do, and
Right.
that's all. That always feels nice. And sometimes it comes from random people. And I think those are better than the people close to you. Like the one time, this one person shared an article I wrote on Facebook, who I don't even talk to like that, like anymore.
Right.
But they just put out, they just like posted one of my articles on Facebook. I was like, that's super strange of you to do, but thank you.
Wow. Well, there you go. Shit. You get people talking to you and shit about it. That's dope. That's dope. So once college ends, once you graduate, like where do you see yourself? What what do you have a like? Because I didn't have a plan out of college. I still fucking don't. I'm 25. Do you do you have any sort of clue as to what's going to happen after that, or are you just kind of like, this is like a living in the moment type deal?
Well, I applied to grad school for
Okay.
journalism. Remember, we were talking about the uselessness of journalism majors. I applied to a
Hey.
couple. I applied to a couple of grad schools for journalism. So, that's the plan. If I get in, then I get in. But that's the next step. I don't think too far ahead, because anything can change, and it's horrifying to think of anything more than a month in advance. So
Very
so and I try not to give myself panic attacks on the daily.
true. Right.
So if I can control what I think about, then it's fine.
Right.
But yeah, like I'm trying to go to grad school in the fall,
There you go.
and that's it.
Hey.
And then we'll figure it out. I'll keep randomly freelancing every once in a while. Now that I know I can.
Right.
Freelancing was always like this big like phantom where like people were like, "Oh, you should freelance." I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean? Shut up." And now that I've like, gotten into it a little bit, like dip my toe in or whatever,
Right.
it's like a viable thing on the side or
Right.
even at the forefront. And so, I'll always have that. I'll always want to do that. I'll always try to do that until, something sticks.
Right. Yeah, I feel, people freelance just like Jeff Weiss does it. And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how the fuck you do that shit. I don't know. I feel like that unstableness, like of like a job, is like very like that would give
Horrifying.
me like the absolute most anxiety I could possibly even think of, all into
sure.
one. Like that would just make me throw up. Like I don't even understand. Fuck
I mean,
that shit.
it's exciting. No, I'm sure it's like
Yeah.
self-sufficient. It's like it's got like the grind mentality that everyone likes to subscribe to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool when you work for something and you freelance it and someone's like, "Yes, I want to pay you money for something that you do for free." And
Yeah.
I think that shit probably feels like opium, because I know it does
Yes.
for me. I know the first time it happened, I was like, "What?" I was like, "There's like, why would you do that? That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like that is hilarious that you would pay me money to do that. How can I capture this feeling 6 more times in the next year?" And and so I understand. And if people get really good at it and start being workhorses at it, then it's viable for everybody. So
Yeah. More power to those people. I'm trying to have that mindset. You know what I mean? That's definitely a difficult mindset to have, though.
yeah, no, I take too many naps for that.
That's a fact. I would have done it today if I wasn't interested in the Biggie documentary. Outside of that, I would have been out cold after work.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, not even a question. But I want to thank you for coming on this interview. We had a couple of technical mishaps, but we got through it.
You did.
And I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I like talking. I like it when I like it when people think they want to hear what I have to say, and then when they finally hear it, they're like, "Oh God." Absolutely. they're like, absolutely not. Like, we've made a grand mistake. But no, like, people are gonna get to the end of this and be like, "I can't believe I wasted an hour and a half on this." However long it's gonna be. Like, people will never get this hour from their life back again, and it's just hilarious.
Listen, they're gonna hear a lot of laughter. That's all I know. I've been laughing this entire fucking time.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, there was 21 minutes of words, and the rest of it is just Brandon laughing. It's just a laugh track to like a iCarly episode. That's all this is. Like,
the iCarly laugh track episode featuring Matt Ritchie. That's great. I love it. Well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe to Peeps with Tweets. Also follow us on Twitter on Peeps with Tweets. Make sure you follow Matt Ritchie on Twitter. He's shaking his head no, but you're gonna follow him. I will leave his account in the bio for whatever. And make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you get into it. You know what I'm saying? Leave a comment, whatever you want to do it for your boys. Thank you again. Peace out.
Yeah. After this, the price definitely gotta go